Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, hitting you guys with a video where essentially I'm responding to a think piece that was put up pretty recently on my dude D.Respect's YouTube channel, where he put out some thoughts about the phenomenon or the idea of rap music or just music in general that is fake deep. Fake deep. It's not actually deep, it's fake deep. There's real deep, that's really deep, and then there's fake deep. And to springboard into that point, he was using as examples some of the recent work from Hopsin and XXXTentacion. I mean, there are probably not many large music artists out there today who get that term or that charge thrown at them more often than them. Although I will digress and say that I thought the new Hopsin track was kind of dope and is actually not him trying to be super deep or meaningful or anything. It's just kind of a fun song with a good beat and hook and some very hilarious lyrics and some decent flows, but whatever. Still, though, Hopsin has put out quite a bit of material, which I think qualifies under the sort of name or categorization of fake deep. And while my dude D.Respect did make some really good points, and his video is linked down there in the description, and I influence you to check out that video and subscribe to his channel. He has a lot of great things to say. I think he could have come straight out and sort of defined fake depth a little bit more boldly, a little bit more clearly. And I actually do think that XXXTentacion's new music video, while he does make a point, it is really fake deep. And like I said in that video, it's very much sensible and logical to question the messenger in that video, because you have a man who is here trying to make a moral point to you, make a moral appeal to you, when it is very clear that he himself is sort of lacking in the morality department. Even if he doesn't end up being fully charged or is proven to have been wrongfully charged in the court case that he has coming up with all the abuse allegations, still, in response to all of that, he has shown himself to be really callous and really uncaring on the subject of sexual violence, of domestic abuse, etc. So not only is it worth sort of questioning him on that front and questioning the depth of his statements based merely on that, because if we're to be actually taking this person seriously as a messenger, as somebody who is relaying some kind of information to us. I mean, just like in any other situation, like if you're reading a news article or looking up a statistic, you want to know what the source of that information is. You want to be able to do some research. You want to be able to fact check. You want to be able to check for bias. You want to know where exactly that information, that statistic, that point of view, that whatever, you want to know where that's coming from an ideological standpoint. I mean, obviously, facts are facts are facts are facts, but still, you should do your background, you should do your research. And the thing about fake depth, and why I think artists like X and artists like Hopsin certainly qualify, what makes them seem deep overall is just that there is a lack of depth, or maybe an overabundance of depravity in a lot of mainstream hip-hop right now. And so when you have somebody coming out and making some kind of social or political statement, it seems like, whoa, man, this is deep. And some things that some of these artists are pointing out are in fact true and are very sensible, but the thing is, to be deep, I think, requires more than just to simply point out something that is logical or common sense. I think depth by definition has to go beyond common sense. So to merely acknowledge the things that XXXTentacion did in, the music video for Riot, the video where he's hanging the kids, so on and so forth, I think merely to acknowledge those things and not package them up in a way that's actually thoughtful, in a way that's more controversial than it is educational, is in fact not deep. To merely point out the obvious is not deep, which is kind of another thing with Hopsin. I think a lot of the points he makes, a lot of the observations that he makes when he's trying to be deep is, just casual, common sense observance of a phenomenon that pretty much anybody could see. And the thing is, a lot of these rappers that they're supposedly challenging also see this shit as well. The difference is that they just don't make it their business to rap about it, you know? Like, and I'm not saying that that's the case for everybody. I mean, you do have guys like, you know, Lil Pump, who, if you do look at some of his social media antics, he seems like a legitimately confused young man. I do understand that, you know. Some of these SoundCloud rappers, they're not Rhodes Scholars. They're not Rhodes Scholars. I get it. I understand. However, still, just because that is certainly the norm within certain sects of the hip-hop community, that doesn't mean that the bar for intellectual depth has lowered. At least not for me. At least not for anybody who's actually paying attention. Maybe for people who haven't been exposed to that many artists who are trying to make a genuine statement about society at large, or a genuine introspective or emotional statement. But honestly, there are plenty of artists out there doing it. There are plenty of artists out there doing it. If you haven't heard them, if you aren't aware of them, you only have yourself to blame. If for whatever reason you are under the assumption that XXXTentacion is the only guy walking the planet saying anything of any substance in hip-hop right now, Google is your friend. Google is your friend. You can really only blame yourself for not knowing, honestly. Like, all the information, all those artists, everything, it's all at your fingertips. It really, truly is. And I think another word that can kind of be swapped in for the placement of fake deep is kind of middlebrow. Which is a term that I've applied to guys like J. Cole as well. Like, you know, he's saying something of more significance than your average drill dude out of Chicago, but is what he's saying that poignant? Is it that deep? Is it that significant? Is it that moving? Is it a point of view, or is it a thought process that you haven't heard anybody else mull through? Is it a thought process that's actually challenging the status quo, that's actually challenging people and making them uncomfortable, really kind of getting them out of their comfort zone? You know, people from all wings of the ideological spectrum. I mean, I've talked with some people online, you know, saying that X isn't really all that deep, or the material that he makes isn't really all that deep. And, you know, they've brought the challenge to me, saying, well, you know, think about his fan base. You know, for them, he actually is exposing them to ideas and so on and so forth that they haven't thought of before, blah, 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 blah. And they were sort of making this argument that it was almost like his fans are not as intelligent as the average person, which, okay, fine. That may be your opinion. That may be what you think about it. I haven't done, you know, sort of the research on his fan base to know truly, honestly. But if your fan base is at an intellectual level where they're so blatantly unaware of the world around them, but they think you're deep, I mean, I think that's kind of a telltale sign that you're not really all that deep. When people who are sort of at that level of intelligence are the ones who are the only people who you can convince that you're smart, you know? But again, fake depth, it's out there and it's real. You know, and I think it has to do with when somebody is making a statement that's really not all that well thought out, but yet it's deeper than just some shit about Xans and Molly, you know. But yeah, those are pretty much my thoughts. Fake depth. It's real. It's a real thing. And I think it's just pretty much the phenomenon of when you're trying to be smart, you're trying to make a statement, you're trying to bring a point home, you're trying to educate and enlighten people, expand their minds, but your efforts really only go so far. Fake deep. Another video next to my head over here that you should check out, or click on the link to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one. What do you think a fake deep is? Let me know down in the comments.